Welcome to Inspiration Moment. It is my hope and prayer that you're doing well by the grace of God and that you had a blessed week. I'm looking forward to a blessed time today. Today we are going to read from the book of 1 Samuel chapter 30, verse 8. So David inquired of the Lord, saying, Shall I pursue this troop? Shall I overtake them? And he answered him, Pursue, for you shall surely overtake them, and without fail recover all. We are continuing with the series I introduced last week. Pursue, overtake, and recover. From this passage of scripture, David, after encouraging himself in the Lord, went before the Lord to seek God concerning what had happened to him and his troop, the loss they had suffered. And we see God answering David and giving him a promise. This scripture is very key, and it is very important to us, to you and me, because it is teaching us on the importance of turning to God, coming before God, presenting our case to God, and seeking God for his will, seeking God for direction, seeking God for guidance, seeking God for help, intervention, his plan and purpose for our life, for wisdom, for provision, and for every need in our life. David is teaching us that it doesn't matter what we have or we might have gone through, the challenges or the difficulties, or the bad things that we might have encountered in life. We can go before the Lord, present our case to him, and ask God for intervention. And God is a God who hears and he answers prayers. God hears and he answers prayers. David acknowledged that by his own power, he could not bring back his family. He could not rescue his family. He could not be able to take back what the enemy had captured. He was acknowledging that he needed God. He needed God's help. All of us, irrespective of who we are, irrespective of what we have or what we do not have, irrespective of our level of success, we need to acknowledge that we need God. Paul, writing to Philippians chapter 4, verse 6, be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, let your requests be known to God. The Bible is teaching us that we need to take everything to God in prayer. Not some of the things, but everything. We should commit everything to God. Whether it is our families, our careers, or our career, our job, our studies, whatever it is, we must commit all these things to God, for God to help us and for God to guide us in every step. The first thing that we see David asking of the Lord is, shall I pursue the Amalekites? He wanted to be certain that God was with him and it was God's will for him to pursue his enemies. He wanted clarity, or he was seeking for clarity. He wanted to know the will of God, the perfect will of God. Is it your will for me to pursue these enemies? David knew that if it was not the will of God, he would not have made it, to pursue his enemies. And even if he attempted to pursue his enemies, he would not have succeeded. What does to pursue mean? It means to follow. It means to chase. It means to go after something or someone. It also means to continue or proceed along a path or route. The opposite of pursue is avoid. So David wanted to be certain that it was the will of God for him to pursue his enemies. We need to seek God's will. We need to seek God's guidance before we undertake a project or a program, or whatever decision that we might be on the verge of making. We need to commit it to God and ask God whether it is His will for us to do what we are intending to do. The second thing that David wanted to know from the Lord was, will I overtake them? This is the question that David asked the Lord. Shall I pursue my enemies, and will I overtake them? To overtake means to catch up and pass while traveling in the same direction, or to go past something by being a greater amount or degree. If you overtake someone, you went past them because you were moving faster than they were. David wanted to know that if indeed he pursued the Amalekites, if he would catch up with them, because they had traveled a long distance. And David wanted to know whether he would catch up with them. God, like I said earlier, He is a God who hears and He answers prayers. God spoke to David, and he talked about three things that would happen. God said, told David to pursue his enemies. He promised him that he will surely overtake his enemies. In other words, he gave him green light. Go ahead, pursue your enemies, and I promise you that you will overtake your enemies. What a promise. God speaking to David, and He is speaking to us today, that if we commit our lives to Him, if we commit our plans to Him, our heart desires, if we commit our requests, if we come to God genuinely, God is going to speak to us. He is going to direct us. He is going to order our steps. He is going to give us divine strategies on how to go about what we are supposed to do. Because we know that God is all-knowing, and God has all the answers. And therefore, if we trust in Him, He is going to guide us, He is going to lead us, He is going to intervene, and He is going to do that which we are asking and we are requesting from Him. And one good thing about God is that sometimes He goes far above or beyond our requests. David requested made a twofold request. Shall I pursue them? Shall I overtake them? But God responded, and he responded in a greater way. He told David, pursue your enemies, you will surely overtake them, and without fail, recover all. God told David, not only are you going to pursue your enemies, but you are also going to overtake them, and you are going to recover. What does recovering mean, or to recover? What does it mean? It means to regain possession of something stolen or lost. This is great. This is powerful. To regain possession of something stolen or lost. Could it be you have lost something in life? God is telling you, pursue, you shall recover it. Could it be you had a dream, but that dream is long dead? Pursue, you shall recover it. Could it be you've been praying, you've been trusting God concerning something? Maybe it's something to do with your health, something to do with your finances, something to do with your family, something to do with your job, or whatever need you might be having, and you are discouraged, and you've come to a point whereby you have given up. I came to encourage you today. Do not give up. Press on. Pursue your dream. Pursue your goals. Pursue in prayer. Pursue in fasting. Pursue in waiting upon God, in seeking the face of God. God is speaking to you by his word, and he is telling you, pursue. You shall overtake, and without fail, you are going to recover. Doesn't matter what you have lost. Maybe it was stolen by the devil, by the enemy. God is going to grant you grace. The grace to pursue, the grace to overtake, and the grace to recover. Remember, it is not by might, it is not by power, but by the Spirit of the Lord. One sister, or a certain sister, shared with me of how last week's episode was a confirmation to a message given to her by God. There is something in her life that she has been pursuing, and a day before she watched this last week's episode, God had given her the same words. And when she watched last week's episode, and the same words came, indeed, she knew that it was God who was speaking to her. I want you to be, to summon all your faith and confidence and pursue. Maybe there is something that you gave up on and you thought that it will never happen. I came to challenge you, and I came to encourage you that don't quit and don't give up. I want to encourage you to keep on, liking, keep on sharing, keep on commenting, and God will continue to bless you and to bless us. Be sure to join me as I continue with this series, Pursue, Overtake, and Recover. The Lord bless you. The Lord keep you. May the peace of God be upon you. Shalom.